Hey Strong-Siders, today we're continuing our joint by joint series working with the rotator cuff. The four muscles include the Supraspinatus, the Infraspinatus, the Teres Minor, and the Subscapularis. Starting off with the Supraspinatus, this muscle pulls the arm up into abduction, meaning pulling it away from your midline through the first 30 degrees of motion. In order to stretch this, we need to adduct or pull the arm across towards our midline. So you can start by just pulling the arm behind your back. You can get a little bit of a different stretch by pulling your elbow forward as well. This will come down and it attaches just onto the shoulder capsule. So if you follow your collarbone and find the AC joint, which is a bony prominence at the end, you can actually press your finger into a sensitive spot just as it drops off the collarbone and AC joint. You only need one finger in there. It doesn't need a whole lot to press in. It's a small tendon, and you just reach your arm in the back. The other way you can do this is find the bony ridge that runs across your shoulder blade and dig your fingers in just above that ridge. That's where the supraspinatus sits. And then you can also do the same action. Afterwards, activating this muscle is as simple as doing a lateral raise to about 30 degrees of abduction. Next, we have the infraspinatus muscle. This muscle externally rotates the arm and is located just below that same ridge we were talking about with the supraspinatus. To stretch it, you can put your arm behind your back and pull your elbow forward. To release the infraspinatus, place a ball up against the wall and press into the backside of your shoulder blade below that ridge. Then take your arm and internally rotate it and externally rotate it to help release this muscle. To activate the infraspinatus, attach a band at about belly button height and do some external rotations while your arm stays in a neutral position. The subscapularis internally rotates the arm and is the strongest of the four muscles. The subscap is found attached to your shoulder blade on the rib side of the bone. It is best to use a stick or a dowel to stretch this muscle. You place the dowel in behind the forearm in your hand and then force external rotation into the arm, thus stretching the internal rotating muscle. You can do this in an abducted position, meaning arm away from your midline or across the midline. In order to release this muscle, you're going to have to slide your fingers up along your rib cage to poke into the backside of your shoulder blade. It's a little uncomfortable to do this since you have to press into your armpit, and it's tough to do sometimes with your fingers or your thumbs. So you can always use a dowel or the same stick you were using to try to press up underneath. Don't push too hard, but once you're in there, internally rotate and externally rotate your arm, just like when we were releasing the infraspinatus. To activate this muscle, we can use a band and do the same motion we were doing for the infraspinatus, except the force will come from the opposite direction. We will internally rotate the arm under tension, and you can do this in an abducted position or a neutral position. Last but not least is your Teres Minor. This is also an external rotator of the arm, except this one is more active when the arm is abducted up at 90 degrees compared to the infraspinatus, which is stronger when the arm is in a neutral position. To stretch this one out, we want to lay on our side, move our arm up 90 degrees, and we're going to put light pressure trying to press the wrist down. We do want to keep the shoulder packed down. We don't want to have that shoulder pop up off the ground, forcing the shoulder blade to slide. That's too much tension. Just a little bit of pressing down will be enough. So to release this muscle, we're going to take a similar approach to releasing the infraspinatus, except we're going to focus the ball to be a little bit more along the ridge or the side of our shoulder blade. It still sits on the back side, so we're going to want to feel around for that, but it's going to pass up a little bit lower than the infraspinatus itself. So once you're up against the wall, it's better to go off to the side, and you'll rotate your body around until you feel like you've hit the edge of your shoulder blade. Then with your arm up and in front of you, you can just rotate in and out of internal and external rotation to release this muscle. Here's a look from the front. Ball's slightly more forward than it would be if I was doing the infraspinatus, and I'll just roll in and out. You can always use the opposite hand to help with a little bit more pressure. When activating this muscle, we're going to do the same exercise as we would for the infraspinatus, except we're going to have our arm abducted away from our ribcage 90 degrees. That's it for our rotator cuff series. As always, stay strong, Strong-Siders.